Hey guys, welcome back to Cruise. Shout out to all of you in your crews and your homes. I know this second week that you've been there. So happy to see you all there. This week we're going to be talking about week 2 of our series called To Be Holy, which is Try Softer. Think back at the time that you ever tried to learn a skill, like playing an instrument or learning a sport or even developing a speaking ability or even being in school, simply being in school and learning. Sometimes things can get a little difficult. Sometimes not everything is as easy as advertised. Sometimes you may see somebody playing an instrument, you think, hey, I can do that, or playing a sport and you think you can do that too. But sometimes it requires a little bit of work and effort to learn how to do something well. And sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it's not as easy as you think it would be. Now, what do people usually tell you when you hit those walls, those obstacles, those areas when it gets difficult? Usually, people will suggest that you try working harder and try giving more effort into learning that skill or developing that sport or playing that instrument. Now, that usually works well with most of the stuff. Yeah, sometimes if you work harder, you will see your grades improving, you will see your skill developing, you will be able to play that sport a lot better. When it comes to holiness, God does not want you to try harder. He wants you to try softer. What does it mean? What does it mean to try softer? Try softer means that you don't have to put as much effort as you think you have to in order to receive God's holiness. This is the beauty about God. He knew that there's no way in this world that we could be holy. There's no way we could earn it. There's nothing we could do in this world that would make us automatically holy. So he had to give it to us himself. He works through a process called sanctification. I know it's a really big word. Just so everybody understands what I'm talking about, sanctification is basically a process that God takes every believer through in order to make us holy. Now, when you become a Christian, God takes away all of your sin. And it is at that time that God begins this sanctification or this holiness making process. Now, most of the time, we all deal with sin. I'm pretty sure that all of you do. I don't think I've ever met a person who hasn't struggled with sin here on earth. Now, this is the beauty about God. I want you to imagine that there was a list of 1,000 things that you knew were sinful or wrong with you. I'm not talking about any physical features. That's not what I'm talking about. Stuff that you don't like to do, or some secret sin that you may have, or something that you do by yourself that nobody knows about except for God. Now, you don't like this thing that you do every single week or every single day. Now, you have this specific one that you want God to remove, and you're trying so hard to not do that thing anymore, and you set up rules and you do everything you can to try to get rid of this one sin, but it never goes away. And this is one of the reasons why God doesn't take it away. You may pray and you may ask for these things, but it for some reason does not go away. There's one reason. See, when it comes to making us holy, God is the one that's in charge. It's not about us telling God what we want changed. It's about letting God change us. Say you have a problem with number 345 in your list of 1,000 things that's sinful about you, for example, and say you hate that one and you want that one removed. But God in his wisdom, because he's making you holy, he's the one, remember that, he's the one that's making you holy, not yourself. He's not taking a look at 345, he may be looking at 6 or 7 or maybe 600. That may be the cause of why 345 is the problem with you. So he's going to deal with the other ones before in a process in his time. When you're ready to change, when he deems it properly, he's going to go in there and fix those issues so we can get rid of 345 eventually. Now, this requires a lot of patience and a lot of trust, because God does not go in there and immediately make you holy. Could he do it? Yes, but he won't. You know why? Because you would not appreciate the changes. This is the thing that I love about God and the way that he deals with holiness. Today, you may not be as holy as you're going to be tomorrow. Remember this. Today, you may be a little bit holy, and tomorrow, you may be a little more holy. That's the way that God works. Slowly, progressing, step by step, moving you into holiness until one day, when we are standing in his presence, when you stand with God in heaven, surrounded hopefully by your family and your friends, you will then all receive complete holiness. In Philippians chapters 1 verse 6, it says this. Now, did you catch that? He who began a good work in you will continue it to completion until the day of Christ. This implies that it is not a once and you're done kind of situation where the minute you become Christian, you are never going to sin again. That's not going to happen. You are going to go sin again. But the thing is that you don't have to worry about it anymore. You may fall every once in a while, but now you have a hope. Now you can actually ask the Lord for forgiveness and He will forgive you. That's the beauty of how holiness works. It drives you to go before God. So tomorrow you may not sin as badly as you did today or the day after that. And then you'll get better and better until one day you no longer deal with that one sin. It's gone and it's eradicated. And then God can use you as an example of how He has changed your life so that other people can see that you are different. See, it's not about trying harder or putting more rules or doing more rituals so that you become holy. It's about letting God and trusting God and trusting His hand that He's going to make you holy. And as slowly and as surely as you get to know Him and you get to love Him, He will start making you holy until one day you get to stand before the throne of God and stand before His presence, and you will now receive full holiness. That's it for me this week, guys. I hope you have an awesome time on your cruise. Remember that your questions for your crew or your discussion questions are inside your devotional books. Make sure that you bring your devotional books every single week and that you're doing your devotionals before you show up for cruise every Friday night. Guys, I hope that you have an awesome week. We will see you next week when we do week 3.